Hello everyone. And this particular video will be talking about how you need to tackle the ILR section in CAT 2024. Before coming to that, most of you would have gone through the PYQ, right? From even if I talk about 2023 or 2022 or 2021, right? In every slot, right? At least two sets were doable, right? The only thing was you need to select the right set to solve in starting, right? See, when we talk about sets were solvable, right? I mean to say that this particular set were solvable in that particular 40-minute time limit, right? Now, it's no doubt in that if you try this particular set after the exam, right, you might be able to solve all the four as well, right? But here the condition is very different. What it happens, you have attempted the VRC, you are already tired, now you are coming to the DILR, right? This tiredness and the exhaustion, and the pressure that builds up, right? That might hamper your score in the DILR section, right? To make sure that this should not happen, right? What you need to do in the paper, like there are four sets, right? Kindly go through each set once, right? See, if you have solved a lot of set in the for the practice in mocks or during your preparation. So obviously, what would happen? Out of this four set, at least three set will like ki how you need to solve this particular set. The what I mean to say that you will be able to process it out. Ki how I have to start, how I need to crack this particular set. Right now, the question arises: which set to solve first? Out of all this three, which set to solve first, right? See now, when I say the set is tough or when I say, the set is lengthy, I mean to say that, either you are not able to get the approach, how I need to solve this particular set, or the second part, which is little bit important in selection, that is lengthy. Lengthy means too many cases, right? And a big table, a lot of information in which there are many cases that might happen. You have seen in many sets, what usually happens, you don't get the exact data, right? For example, how the data will be filled. The rest of the data you go through the cases, if this is the case, this might be possible. If this is the case, this might be possible, right? This is called lengthy sets, right? So out of these three sets, you know, you need to avoid the lengthy sets, right? When I say why you need to avoid this lengthy sets, because this will be much more time consuming. You don't have any particular idea how much time it's gonna take for you to solve that particular set. It might be 20 plus minutes as well, right? And during that, when the this timer will go on, right? When it will cross 20 and you would not be able to solve a single set, right? The pressure will be created at peak, and that particular time, most of the time, what happens ki we get through this particular, thought ki I should leave this set and I should move forward, right? So my point is, try to pick the set which is less time consuming and which will give you a boost in starting itself, right? See, you need to consider this case as well. Ki by mistake or by something, some reason, you pick the wrong set to solve first, right? So what I usually tell to the student as well, ki in starting 10 minute, right, of that particular set, right? This will click in your mind. See, 10 minutes is a huge time, right? Plus, second thing, what usually happen now, what we do in the mocks, right? We have a big rough book and all, right? In CAT, you'll be getting a small sheet like this, fine, in which there will be a number of pages, but the pages will be too small, right? So you cannot, write it in a big way and all because you need to accumulate the data in DILR to get the answer together, right? So what would be my suggestion key when you pick the wrong set, starting, right? And after 7 to 8 minutes, you realize is that you have picked the wrong set, right? See, what I will tell you, ki bhai, first of all, whatever you have done in that particular set, whatever the information you have extracted, keep it as it is, right? Fine. You can move to the next set, leaving that particular set because obviously, see, my point is ki there is no surety ki this time what you are spending in this particular set, right? And if it's tough, if it's lengthy, there might be a case you might miss a cases what gonna be there, right? There's a chance that you might got it incorrect. So better to find out which one is the easier after this 10 minutes, right? You have total 30 minutes, right? So if I distribute it out, still you have 15 minutes for a DILR set, right? Now my point is we don't know what slot you have and what question you would be having in you know, in front of you, right? So, like, what should be your target after this 10 minutes? Try to crack at least one set in next 15 minutes, right? At least one set in next 15 minutes so that you will be at a safer side. After that, the rest 15 minutes, you can try to do the other set, whatever you choose to do, right? Or you can come back to this particular set. Like if you feel like, if I would be spending a little bit much more time, because see what would happen if you have solved this particular one set in this 15 minutes, right? So you have your confidence a little bit high. Fine, because you are secure कि भाई 15 marks is what I am scoring right now. If I put some, what I say, effort, I might get it as well as correct, right? This particular, what we say, the next set, right? So either you can go for the next set, right? Other set, or you can come back to this particular set. Obviously, you have all the information written in that particular page, right? Go back to that. Try to now solve it out, because now what would happen? Na, ki, see, my point is, ki, no doubt if you feel you can solve it out, right? But here, what would happen? Ki, due to this time pressure, when the time pressure will be built up, you will be having a 20 minutes left in your time slot. So it might happen ki the pressure would make you do some mistake, right? Due to this pressure, you might do some mistake. You might miss some information in the DILR set, whatever is given, right? And one more thing for any DILR set, no matter what, whatever you do in mock, whatever you will be doing in the CAT, right? I have always suggested that whenever you are solving any DILR set, right? For example, let's suppose there is a sentence that is given, right? Let's suppose, right? So after reading the sentence, I just write down what information you have understood from this particular sentence, in your rough book. Because see, reading that out and trying to memorize it in the memory itself, okay, say yeah, this yeah, that doesn't help you at all, right? For example, let's suppose you have a 10 sentence, right? You have 10, 10 information, 10 piece of information given, or let's suppose 6 to 7 information, piece of information given, right? You read the first one, you read the second one, you read the third one, you read the fourth one, right? Now you're trying to link it up, how I can utilize this particular information to solve this particular set, right? What my point is, obviously, this would be in a form of a sentence, right? If you extract the information, so out of that 10 to 12 words, right, whatever they have mentioned, right, you can write it out in, 1 to 2 words. Ki, bhai, from this particular thing, this is what they have said. That's all. Fine. This is I'm talking about the arrangements or the other sets what usually come up in the paper right now. Coming after doing this particular set, okay, like once you have extracted all the information from 10 sentences, right? Now to solve the sets, it will be easier for you. See, what usually happen where we waste most of the time, ki we read the information and we try to think it out. Yeah, I say ye bola hai, then we forget ki what the other statement was saying, right? We go back and we try to look it out into the sentence and all. See, once we have read the sentence, we have extracted all the information what is given. There is no chance of negligence. You know what I mean to say, that there is no chance that you might miss some important points in the particular point what they have said. Fine. So this should be in your mind. One more thing, right? Most of the people will come up, with the tricks and all, in DLR, you can go through this trick and all. See, first of all, you don't have any idea what's gonna be in front of you on 24th, right? That might be any sets, like usually what usually happen in some slot, what we have seen from the past year CAT papers, in some slot there will be one DI question. Right now, they have reduced the DI question, but DI question is always doable, right? So if you're lucky enough and the DI question is in your paper, obviously you should try to solve that out first. Then you should look for the other question, because the level of DI question what they ask in mock, that is way too higher what comes in CAT. Fine. Now, foremost thing, what at the end I would suggest, key for example, see some of the sets now, like I'm not telling that you will be lucky enough, ki, bhai, you'll be having that particular set, right? In subset, what usually happen now, there will be a set, right? For example, they have given you a piece of information, right? See, so when you go through the question, right, what you would understand ki out of this particular piece of information, from one and two, like out of this five question, two or three question are direct doable. See, what I mean to say that direct doable means, you don't have to waste much of your time. You read all the information what they have given, you read the question, you understood, okay, fine, this is what they are asking, and that would be done in 2 to 3 minutes, max to max 3 to 4 minutes, right? Not more than that, right? Fine. So this type of question that usually people comes up and say, you can go for this particular question first. See, my point is you need to first recognize na ki bhai, okay, fine, this is this type of question or not, right? If you are a someone who have a patience, who can be a fast reader, who have solved a lot of DLR set, and you have a good speed in DLR set, right? For you, it's very easy to recognize, right? For rest of the people, who are still afraid from DLR, they can't go with this particular thing, because sometimes what happen, it might backfire as well. Because see, what my point is, Maki, obviously you're gonna spend some time on it, right? For example, let's suppose you spend it around 9 to 10 minutes in three questions, right? But there is a chance that 50-50 chance would be there, right? If you will be confident enough, there is a chance that you might get it correct. There is a chance you might get it wrong as well, right? So this case you should only take at the end when you have very less time left, and obviously you have gone through all the sets, and you have come to this particular conclusion कि भाई जितना मेरे से हो सकता था, the max I can do, I have done that. Fine. If you come up with this particular thing, right? So this we can tell ki bhai, just a second. Right. So this particular, this risk, whatever you are trying to take, right? Take it only when you are confident enough. What I mean to say that, you are good in DLR, you have been solving the set in proper time limit and all, But if you are not confident in DLR, right? Don't take this risk and all. See, for a person who is writing a CAT just for the namesake, what I mean to say that this particular, the mentors or the tutors, they don't write cat for their sole purpose of getting a good college, right? For you, all things depend on this particular paper, right? So before taking any risk, taking any guesses, taking anything, whatever the suggestion they are giving you, you can solve the sets through question only, you can do this like this only, right? This is very less applicable in the actual cat paper. For them, it is quite applicable because what usually happen, they don't care, Obviously, whatever they have done in the paper, they won't gonna come and tell to you, कि भाई, I have done this thing in the paper, right? They're gonna come up, they're gonna see this particular set, then it will click, okay, fine, I can go through this option as well. So they come up and they say like this, right? See, again, my point is, don't try anything new, right? Don't try anything new in the paper of the DLR as well, right? Plus, one thing keep in mind, whatever happened in DLR, right? Whatever, right? Don't try to get it affect in the cons. Because sometimes what happen, I've seen the people, if they are not able to do much in DLR, right? So what they usually do, they go to the cons and they screw up the cons as well, right? You should not do that. You should solely focus on the DLR, right? If you have solved a lot of sets in your preparation time, see, fine. And yes, one more thing I just want to clarify. I have been writing CL mocks and IMS mock as well. Most of the time when I go through the sets, what I find out ki most of the time they keep all the four sets stuff. Fine, all the four sets would be tough, right? Like time consuming or tough or sometimes illogical as well. When I say illogical means, the concept what they use to solve that particular set, right? Sometimes it's, way too different what comes in CAP. But when you see the paper of the card, from the past 2023, 2022, 2021, right? Whenever they say it's tough, they just want to tell you, कि भाई, out of that four sets, selecting the right set to solve is tough. Right, fine. But every time those two sets were doable. So if you're lucky enough and you're putting the right sets to solve, obviously it's a scoreable exam. You can score more. Just you need to be confident. That's all is required, right? Don't try anything tricks or something like that. Yes, you can take wild guesses in the theta question at the end if time is left, right? Again, one thing keep in your mind ki whatever happens in the DILR section, that should not affect your cons performance. Because all of a sudden what usually happen, people they are not able to do in the DLR section. They go up and they screw up cons as well. That should not happen, right? Fine. So you should keep in mind the two things. First thing is selection, right? The second thing is if you selected the wrong set, right? Try to understand within 10 to 15 minutes, keep your ego aside, move to the next set. It is not a time to get panic or it is not time to think out, I have wasted my 10 minutes, I have wasted my 12 minutes or something like that. You should not do that, right? Whatever happened, that has happened. You cannot change it. Now you need to concentrate on the rest 30 minutes, what is left. So my point would be just go through this particular thing, this particular sets, whatever they have given you up, right? Try to select the right set now and try to solve it out. Fine. See, one more thing, keep in your mind whatever I have said, whenever you are solving a set, whatever the information you are writing in this particular set of paper, right? Try to write whatever you have understood from this. Don't take it in this, yeah, I have understood, I have keep it in mind because this might happen, you might forget the things out. Write it out in a proper way, in a proper sequence manner. Okay, this they have said, this they have said, so this how the cases can be built up. So in the questions like in which there are 4 to 5 cases are built up. For example, let's suppose you made a table, okay, and if you are filling it up, so half of the information is filled up, some information is left. For example, let's suppose this cases has to be built, right? So no need to draw a different table, right? For example, just draw the table, write it out, in a small sequence way. It will be little. Let's suppose the name is A B C D E. Like you just write out A, right? And in the other case, just mention here second case and just write it out. Because see, drawing the other table, then writing the same information in it, it is a waste of time, right? You can do it in a some. See, this is the way you can reduce your time for solving a question. Other than that, whatever time will be required, it will be required to solve for anyone. The only difference would be the someone who has solved a lot of set. For him, the set would be easier to solve. Easier means he will be able to accumulate all the information faster than you. That's all. Other than that, you and him lie on the same line, right? So you need to be well prepared with the mindset that if I'm trying any set, any DLR set, right? So I need to reduce time in that. I don't need to, write it out in a bad manner in the sheet and all. For example, suppose some people have a bad handwriting as well, right? My point is, even if you have bad handwriting, right, try to write things clearly, neatly, so that you'll be able to understand what you have written it out, and you will be able to, solve this particular set, right? This is the thing what you should keep in your mind. Obviously, whatever happens on the D-Day, don't let it affect your quant section, right? I'll talk about the quant section as well in the next video, right? This is what all I wanted to say. See, there is no trick in DILR that your score jump up and all. It all depend on the D-Day and your luck, right? If you are lucky enough to pick the right set to solve, you will be maximizing the score. If you are not lucky enough, right? So the rest time what is left, you need to try to maximize your score in that, right? Go with this particular mentality that I need to solve one set and starting at least in 20 minutes. Then another sets in rest of the time what is left, right? And if you are lucky enough, you might be able to solve this particular set in less than 15 minutes, so obviously your score will boost up. But go with the mindset, I need to read the question, I need to understand approach, then I need to select. It should not be like that I start from first set, or just by looking at set I thought, okay, fine, I can crack it out, but at a point I realized why this is too much time consuming, right? This is what I'm trying to tell you. Right. This is what you should keep in your mind. Don't let hamper your quant preparation or quant section after this DLR. Right. And anyways, this all I wanted to say. All the best for your DLR section as well as the CAT for 2024. Right. Hopefully, you all of you guys get to sets correct or three sets correct. That's all I wanted to say. There is no trick. In maximizing score, the only thing what it lies selection as well as how much faster you are solving and how much concentrated you are while reading the question. Because sometimes what usually happen, if you are in a panic situation, if you are seeing the time a lot of time, for example, the timer a lot of time, right? So what will happen? You will deviate from the information what you're reading. If you read a particular sentence, you will try to understand it all. But due to this panic, let's suppose it is given, Raj can have four cars, right? Fine, X, Y, Z, something like that, right? So while reading, it might happen you might miss this particular data, and due to that, because in DILR, every piece of information is important, right? Even if you miss a single piece of information about from all the data what they have given, right? This is a high chances that you might get your set incorrect. So concentration, not getting panic. This is very, very important while solving the DILR section. This all I wanted to say. Whatever happens in VRC, don't let it hamper your DILR, as well as whatever happened in DILR, don't let it hamper your con section. That's all for today. Thanks and all the best for the CAP 2024.